toast to their career.
The perfect combination, boy.
Hemp hard, legends in the South.
This is Sports Fans' only home for the hottest sports show around. These guys are on fire.
You're now listening to KJ and Sean Mack. Let's talk some damn sports.
Thanks for tuning in, Sports Fans Only. C. Anthony back with another video. On deck today, Keith Thurman, poised to make a comeback. This weekend, I checked out a couple of podcasts, and I really liked the Premier Boxing Champions podcast with Keith Thurman. It was real in depth. He got into the last couple of years of his life with the boxing, with the injuries, with getting married and everything like that. So I like to say Keith Thurman, years ago, one of my favorite fighters. He was one of the ones that was trying to challenge Floyd back in the days to get that big fight for the big payday. So I'll say he's one of the better fighters that I like, and receiving a lot of hate from a lot of people. So I'll start out with Keith Thurman, 31 wins, 1 loss, 22 KOs, 32 years old, from Clearwater, Florida boy, Sunshine State. You know, I want to, he's been inactive a little bit, so we'll go back to some of his previous fights. He had the Manny Pacquiao fight, which he started slow and finished pretty strong, and later in the fight, he actually pressed Pacquiao a little bit and was coming forward, giving Pacquiao something to work with. You go back a little bit further, you have the Josecito Lopez fight, which was good. He dropped Josecito, but we all know Lopez head down, hands up, press all night, so he's not an easy guy to fight. He kind of keeps you on your bicycle, and you're gonna have to move around and use some lateral movement on him. And Keith Thurman, coming off of an injury, he actually got the victory, which was a good thing for me. So I gotta say, Keith Thurman he's definitely gonna have some fights this year. He's definitely looks like he's lining up for July or August, but he wants 2 fights this year with the PBC. Those fights, not very interesting. I would say shake the rust off fights. I think Al Heyman mentioned maybe Andre Berto. I think Andre Berto, his speed won't be able to do anything with Thurman, and he doesn't have enough power. Also, rumors of Devin Alexander. Alexander, great fighter, just doesn't attack enough. Strong southpaw, that's with an iron chin. But I think that'll be both of those fights can go to Keith Thurman. And then I still keep Thurman in that mix with your Porters and all of your top fighters. If you want to dig a little bit deeper, I would say you look at, you go with Keith Thurman and you talk about Errol Spence. Okay, so Errol Spence did well against Sean Porter and Danny Garcia. Keith Thurman, same thing, did well against Danny Garcia and Sean Porter. Terrence Crawford did well against neither because he fought neither. So sometimes that's what I'm talking about with the resume. He didn't fight those fights. So I like to say Keith Thurman, he's if he can go ahead and dispose of whoever he's going to be up first with on PBC and then get on to one of those bigger fights, it'll be really, really good. I know Sean Porter says he's willing to do a grudge match. I don't think Keith Thurman will really want that. Another thing I want to say with Keith Thurman, a lot of people think he's fouled off, but it's only 2021, and you go back to 2019, Bo Mack, the trainer of Terrence Crawford, said that Keith Thurman was the man to beat in the division. So, we have short memories in the sport, and we forget about, 2020 was COVID-19, and they had a couple fights, but it was a good, relaxed, sit back for a while for everybody. It kind of see what's going on with the health of the world and everything like that. So just a short years ago, 2019, Bo Mack stated that. So that's in the back of Terrence Crawford's mind. He has to think that's one of the better competitions, be one of the better competitors for him. That'll be very, very good to take on. So I'll say Thurman, he's a little bit older, being at 32. Thurman, his fighting style is, he comes out, he wants to see if you're really with it. He's trying to take you out first, second round. He's throwing a lot of bombs. He's really walking you down per Danny Garcia. He's throwing that big overhand looping right, trying to get you out of there. Garcia took that, just to mention on that. But later in the fight, 7th through the 12th, Thurman, he kind of gets on his bicycle a little bit and use that lateral movement around the ring, which a lot of people say that's running, but that's actually why you jump rope and you run miles, to be able to have lateral movement and to decide on when you want to sit down and stand in front of somebody and trade shots. So Keith Thurman, my thoughts on him versus Terrence Crawford, I would say, I'm not going to make a prediction if that fight ever happened, but Keith Thurman would definitely put gloves on. He'll put the one time on him. He's definitely going to touch Crawford up in that fight. If you think back, Thurman got rocked by Gamboa, had the wobbly leg. So I think if he's going to stand in front of Thurman, he'll get the same thing. I think he'll be the one using the lateral movement instead of sitting down on his punches if he ever fought Keith Thurman. I will say a healthy Keith Thurman is a top competitor. You know, he's had surgery, I think 2 times. He fought 2 times. You know, against the Manny Pacquiao fight, there were rumors of a drug test, and Keith Thurman went on without it. I, for one, I always felt Manny Pacquiao was dirty. It's just my opinion. So I would say whoever's fighting Pacquiao, get a drug test per Mayweather. So Keith Thurman against Errol Spence, I'll say, right now, I'll say I would take Errol Spence because it's hard to put Keith Thurman over a healthy Keith, even a healthy Keith Thurman, 100% healthy. It'd be hard to put him over Errol because Errol is the opposite of what Keith Thurman wants. Keith Thurman, he susceptible to the body punches. We saw against Danny Garcia and against Pacquiao and against Lopez. It's the body punch to the left on the left side that seems to make him get on his bicycle and give you that lateral movement. But he's a soldier and he always stands tall. He bounces back, he shakes it off. I attribute that to the great cardio. So I definitely would take Errol over Thurman, but I'm not right now. I can't say I would take Crawford over Errol. I would like to see if Crawford actually stepped up and fought the 2 names that I mentioned that Errol and Keith Thurman had in common, being Danny Garcia. I'm not sure how Crawford would look against Danny. Sean Porter, I'm not sure how he would look against him. I think I picked a split decision if they ever had a fight, Porter and Crawford. But all out in the mix, I would not pick Crawford over Keith Thurman if I know they were both healthy and if Keith had a nice tune-up fight. You know, Crawford 6 KOs in his last couple fights. That probably wouldn't carry over against Thurman because he'll be the smaller guy. I think, I'm sure he'll be the smaller guy against Thurman. So it'll be a different style, but wouldn't be the typical Terrence Crawford fight. So anybody who really like Keith Thurman, if you like PBC, I would say go sit down and listen to that podcast. Very, very entertaining. And it kind of, you know, you listen to some of those podcasts and make the boxers seem more human. They talk about marriage. They talk about the injury. They talk about sitting down with doctors who want to open up your hands. That's your money maker. So it's like, you know, it's decisions you make in boxing, all the things we don't talk about. And I would like to say, just keep eyes on Keith Thurman. This might be his comeback year. And Keith Thurman, he might just knock out one of your favorite fighters in being slept on and being underrated at this time in his career. 32 years old. Terrence Crawford's 33. So Keith Thurman's more battle tested. So I would say I'm going to leave it right there. And keep eyes on Keith Thurman, Clearwater, Florida, in the house. I will say Keith Thurman still, in my opinion, top echelon of the welterweight division at 147. I would still say he can give one of your favorite boxers a bad day. So shouts out to Keith Thurman, and I'll keep him in the news. If you like the content, hit the like button, share, subscribe to Sports Fans Only. C. Anthony, Sean Mack on production. Peace. Be well.